Hey everybody, Hoosier Jedi here with another review for you. This time I'm talking about episode 24 of Green Lantern, the animated series called Scarred. Now this is another mostly plot-heavy episode. Actually, in terms of characterization, I really think we're kind of going in circles. We have, Appa Aliapsa being a jerk, and Hal and Kilowog and Razor want to save Aya. Aya, Razor's in love with Aya. It doesn't really go anywhere new in terms of characterization with these guys. But I do like that we're really reminded that Aya is out there destroying entire star systems, and thus is guilty of, genocide on a massive level. Now, not that heroes killing a lot of people and then still being able to find redemption is a new idea in Green Lantern. No siree. Although, in the case of the most famous example, there was quite a bit of retconning that ultimately ended up having to happen before that could really go down all the way smooth. And even then, it was still a little bit hinky, but that's a little bit too much comics lore to get into right now. Now, the first thing that kind of jumped out at me this episode is the Guardians say that the scientist left no records. Well, we ultimately find out that that isn't true, but things like this are one of the real ridiculous plot contrivances that you tend to find in a lot of stories, particularly in science fiction. That the scientists kept all their information in their head or something. And, well, let's be realistic. Yeah, that's just not how people operate. But again, ultimately this proved to be sort of a false lead, so I'll let that one slide. Although, really, you'd think that the Guardians would have been just a little bit more suspicious of somebody in such an important position not keeping even a single record or note in regards to what had to have been a major project. But, well, we've shown that the Guardians are not exactly the most outside-the-box thinkers there are. Now, anyway, in terms of characterization and whatnot, what we get this time around is actually mostly focused on a Guardian. And this is really intended to take the scientist lady and turn her into a riff on the evil Guardian Scar. And man, there's a lot that can be said about Scar from the comics, but I don't really want to get into that because I just don't want to beat people over the head with too much lore from the comics. But suffice to say that Scar in the comics is serious bad news, and she really helps unleash a whole lot of hell on the galaxy. Let's put it that way. Now, one thing I did like was, I'm actually surprised they got away with this, is Hal saying that Aya has gone back, saying that they've gone bat guano insane. Well, bat guano is, of course, basically just bat poop. So, essentially, they snuck saying the word batshit past the radar on the show. Yeah, that's definitely up there. Well, actually, right up there with almost up there with the time that The Simpsons actually used the words glory hole. No, seriously, that did happen. So yeah, gotta love those inappropriate references in kids' TV shows, huh? Yeah, I do. But anyway, now the really cool thing that I saw in this episode was when we basically get a very detailed origin of Aya, and we find out that well, there's a little bit of retconning going on here in a way, but mostly the really interesting thing that we find out is that one, there's a sentient being inside the Lantern, and that Aya has a part of that being within her. It's what provided her spark of life. Now, like me, if you're familiar with the comics, you know that this being is called the Ion, and it is exactly as described. It is the living embodiment of willpower. And of course, the other emotions have their own embodiments as well, such as the Butcher for rage, and the oddly enough named Predator for love, Parallax for fear, and so on. Oh yes, if you know the comics, you know all about Parallax. Okay. But anyway, these things, I'm just basically saying that these things in the comics are a serious big deal particularly in modern Green Lantern stories. So seeing this acknowledged was just a huge, huge thrill for me. And one other thing that I like is they actually take a moment to give Lanos a little characterization moment, a little moment where he is more than just the annoying GPS. And I like that Hal actually kind of took a little moment to kind of acknowledge that. You know, we saw that maybe there was potentially more to Lanos than what we have seen so far. So, you know, maybe the time that Hal and Kilowog sort of set him up to be destroyed by the Guardians did Lanos some good. You know, that was certainly better than what it seemed like at the time, where it looked like Hal and Kilowog were killing an intelligent AI when no, they were really just killing a somewhat annoying computer program. But anyway, we're kind of just going over old ground here. But really, I have to say though that the characterization on Scar, where she just flips around and tries to kill Hal and Kilowog at the end, that didn't really feel quite earned to me. Now, sure, it was pretty obvious that she was, you know, concocting a setup from the very beginning, but you know, her driven to the point where she's trying to kill Green Lanterns. I don't know. I mean, granted, Kilowog took a swing at her, but you know, Guardians are supposed to be these immortal godlike beings. You think they'd have a little bit more anger management than that. And Hal, all he was doing was trying to stop her from killing his friend. So, I mean, you can really sort of make a very rough case as to why Scar might have been justified in doing that, but ultimately, really, I can't say that I think something like that would hold up. So, I guess that's really about all I have to say for this episode. There's a lot of things I mean, it's basically just one more crack at taking down Aya that fails, and we learn some important details about Aya's origin. Now, of course, her having that spark from the ion certainly makes it much more plausible as to why she was able to take over and basically hijack the power of the Anti-Monitor. I mean, remember, she has, you know, a shard of a being who is the embodiment of will within her. So, you know, that's a pretty nice ticket to have. Let's put it that way. And with that, folks, I think I've really said everything that I have to say about this episode. I'm definitely looking forward to the next episode. We're only 2 more away from the big finale. I think things are really going to start kicking into high gear next time around. So with that said, folks, I'm going to call it here. As always, please comment, rate, and subscribe. And of course, you can follow me on Twitter at Hoosier Jedi. Until next time, take care and have a good one.